So here I am, 60 years old, and if I'm honest, there's a part of me that wishes I'd made different financial decisions over the past 30 years. I was never reckless with money. I want to say that clearly. I was never careless or impulsive. But there's one thing I never accounted for, and it's changed the entire shape of my financial life. I never expected to be single for the duration of it. Nobody plans for that. You don't sit down at 25 and think, I shall plan my entire financial future around the possibility that I'll be doing this alone. You just assume somewhere in the back of your mind that things will unfold a certain way, that there will be a partner, a shared mortgage, a shared plan. I remember being young back when property prices in my country were a fraction, genuinely a fraction of what they are today. And I remember thinking quite clearly, I'll buy when I have a partner. So I waited. And the years did what years do. They moved. I moved cities a couple of times. Life happened the way it does. And somewhere in all of that movement, I never did buy property. Instead, I invested in something else, myself. I went back to study as a mature age student, trying to improve my career prospects, trying to build something more secure in a different way. And somewhere in that process, the realization became impossible to ignore. It's just me supporting me. I say this almost with embarrassment, but I now hold 5 degrees, 2 of them postgraduate. I tried to pivot my career in my 40s, and it didn't unfold quite the way I'd hoped. I don't regret the learning. I value it deeply, and I always will. But those degrees cost money, real money, and the upshot of all those years of study is this: I never invested in property. At 60 years old, I am still renting, and now I face the very real prospect of renting for the rest of my life. This is part of why keeping my job matters so much to me. In my country, employers are required by law to contribute to our retirement savings. We call it superannuation. And because I've worked almost continuously throughout my career, with breaks only to study, I've built a fairly consistent contribution history. In the past 8 years, I've also added extra contributions of my own on top of what my employer puts in. But here is the question that sits underneath all of it, the one I suspect a lot of us are quietly asking ourselves: is it enough? If I knew exactly how long I was going to live, I could probably answer that with some confidence, but none of us know that. So the question just sits there, unanswered, indefinitely. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but somewhere along the way, I started carrying 2 competing thoughts in my head at the same time. The first one says, I've worked so hard for so long, I'm tired. The second one says, I have to keep working so I can keep saving because I still don't know if I have enough. And those 2 thoughts just sit there together. Most days, neither one wins. What I do know is this: I don't want the choice taken away from me. I don't want to be the one who suddenly finds out with no warning that the decision has been made for me. That can happen. We've just been through a significant restructure where I work, and while no one has lost their job so far, there's a certain uncertainty in the air that wasn't there before. The economy isn't exactly booming right now, not in my country and not globally, and the industry I work in isn't booming either. So that is the dilemma I sit with. I'm tired, and some days I wish I didn't have to keep working this hard for this long. And at the very same time, having full-time work means I get to delay the harder question, the one about whether I'll truly ever have enough. I don't have a neat resolution for you today. I wish I did. What I have instead is the truth of where I am: 60, single, self-supporting, still renting, still working, still wondering. And if any part of this is your story too, the choices that felt right at the time, the partner that never arrived, the property you never bought, the retirement number that can never quite settle into something certain, I want you to know you are not alone in carrying this. We don't talk about this enough. The quiet arithmetic so many women are doing in their heads at 60. while still showing up, still performing, still getting the work done. I'll keep talking about it because I think it's time we did.